Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurummilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sagana Ragnadham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhantamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudai Devi Pranamami Hari Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yeah, Hare Krishna everyone. Welcome to the class. So last week we completed chapter 8. So chapter 8, if you look at slokas, right? So this is chapter 8. So first Arjuna asks some questions, and these are all very basic. What is Brahman? What is self? What is fruitive activities? What is material manifestation? Who are the demigods? So most of them Krishna answered right here, right? Right, these two verses. Adi Yajna, Adi Bhuta, all those Adi Bhuta, yeah. Adi Yajna, Adi Daiva, and then Brahman. Brahman is the self. So after answering these questions, Krishna also mentions whoever remembers me alone at the time of death will reach me. That is this one. This is a very famous verse. So this very clearly establishes bhakti as the supreme, because in bhakti alone one tries to remember God always in everything he does. Right? Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. So death is like a test. The whole lifetime is like a preparation. Death is like test. So whatever one remembers at the time of death, that state one will achieve after death. If he remembers Krishna, he'll go there. If you remember a demigod, you will go to that demigod. If you remember some other things in the material world, you will come back to the material world. Yeah, see, he who meditates on me as the Supreme Lord, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he sure to reach me. Yeah, so in this way, for one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotion service. Yeah, after reaching him, nobody will return back to the material world, right? Which is full of miseries because they have attained the highest perfection. Yeah, and then he mentioned from the top of the material world, Brahmaloka, to the bottom of the material world, which is Patal Loka, all are places of misery. Right? Because why it is a place of misery? Because there is both birth and death, always, repeatedly. But one who attains my abode never takes birth again. Yeah, about creation, and so that is all mentioned here. Yeah. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading and everything is situated within him. This again establishes Bhakti as the supreme path. Then he explains about passing away at different times, right? And the destination accordingly. Yeah. Although the devotees know both these paths, for Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. And final conclusion is this. A person who accepts the path of devotion service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotion service, he attains all these, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal reward. You see, just by performing devotion service, one gets the best of everything. So it means that one need not spend his time in trying to do so many other things in the spiritual paths. Right? So many people tell about, oh, perform this sacrifice, this puja, that puja, charity, or study this book, that book. You don't need to do any of that. Just focus on bhakti, pure devotion service. So in this way, very well, Krishna established bhakti as the highest path in this chapter. Now, 9th chapter, Krishna titles it as, the Acharyas title it as the most confidential knowledge. Krishna gave one single song, Bhagavad Gita. It's a continuous conversation. But the Acharyas, based on the context and the content, they divided the topics into various chapters, right, based on the content in the conversation. So, 9th chapter, it is titled The Most Confidential Knowledge, considered as the most important chapter in the entire Bhagavad Gita. It runs in parallel to 7th chapter, very similar to that, but the subject goes in depth here. Okay, so let's begin. You can unmute yourself and repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan
Sri Bhagavan
Bhagavan
Idam tu te guhyatamam
Idam tu te guhyatamam
pravakshyami anasuyave
pravakshyami anasuyave
jnanam vijnana sahitam
jnana vijnana sahitam
yajnatva mokshase subhat.
yajnatva mokshasye subhat.
Now, please read the translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you the most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence."
Couple of important points. Idam tute guhyatamam. Guhyatamam means, guhya means secret. Tamam means the highest. It's a knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is open book. It's anybody can go read, but one will not understand without bhakti. So what is the qualification? Krishna says, Pravakshami anasuyave. I'm speaking to you this because you are anasuyave, means you don't have any envy towards me. Envy means if suppose somebody is doing well or somebody is doing better, if the other person feels why he only has that, I don't have it, right? So that is called anasuya. Asuya. So for one to appreciate the other's good qualities, one should be non-envious. That is a pre-qualification. Even even though we understand God is great, God is all powerful and is the source of everything, but still, because of the conditioned nature of the jiva becomes envious of God. Right? Why he should be the supreme? Why he should do all these things? Why don't I have it? So people, when they hear about Krishna's pastimes, they think, oh, these are just stories. They're made up. Krishna lifted Govardhana hill. How can any human being lift? They compare themselves to be like God, or they put God on their level, human level, and believe that God cannot do this. How can he may be historically great person? All these stories were added later, like that. So they try to reason in so many ways because of envy. In the sense, they don't have any faith in the scripture. Right? They cannot believe that a person can have all these qualities because of their um, limited experience and kind of envy. Because conditioned jiva in the material world is present primarily because he has envy towards God. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here. And says Krishna, and non-enviousness is the greatest qualification one can have. If he has that, then he can purely accept Krishna based on what he is. Accept this knowledge of Krishna very genuinely, and by that he actually can achieve the highest perfection. Okay? You are not envious of me, that is your qualification. I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization. Both knowledge and realization. Knowledge is the theory. Realization is practical understanding of it. Right? Not just understanding. Actually, it's a revelation. Realization is a revelation. Right? Theory and practice. Just like jnana, vijnana. In science also we learn theory and we go and experiment. Right? So when you experiment, you get the conviction. Yes, the theory is correct. Right? So Krishna is saying, I'm going to give you both knowledge and realization, knowing which you will be relieved of the miseries of material existence. Yajnatva mokshashe asubhat. Ashubhat means miserable material existence. You will be relieved. Just being non-envious and accept Krishna as he is and the knowledge he shares in true full faith, one will be relieved of all the miseries of the material existence. So that is the blessing of Krishna. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam
Rajavidya
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam
Pavitram Idamuttamam
Pavitramidam Uttamam
Achaksha Vagamamam Dharmyam
Pratyaksha Avagamam Dharmyam
Sukham Kartumavyayam.
Susukham
Sukham
Kartum
kartum
Avyayam
avavyam.
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam. This knowledge I'm going to tell you is the highest knowledge. Right? Rajavidya, it's a king of education, the highest knowledge. Rajavidya, it is the, you can say, is the king of education or education for the kings. Right? Rajavidya. Rajaguhyam, the king of confidential knowledge, means the best of all the knowledge. So Krishna is priming up Arjuna to receive this wisdom, great wisdom that he's going to teach in this chapter. Okay? And what are the other qualities of the knowledge that he is sharing here? It is the highest, it is the best, and it is pure, pavitram, idam uttamam, the highest, transcendental. It's not material, mundane, it is transcendental. And this knowledge can be directly experienced. Prachaksha, avagamam, can understand. Avagama means you can understand, pratsyaksha, you can realize by your own practical experience. Dharmyam, the principles of religion, susukam kartum avyam. Right? And it's not very difficult to practice also. This knowledge that I'm giving you is also very easy to practice. Susukam kartum avyam. Anybody can do it very easily. Please read this translation. Aranya Mataji.
This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It's the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. That.
So that is so very clear, right? So now Krishna is priming up the Arjuna to receive this knowledge. He has described the qualities of the knowledge that he's going to describe. It is the most secret of all secrets, the king of education, purest knowledge, and you can not only pure, high, it can also be easily experienced by you, by direct perception. It gives direct perception by self-realization. And it is perfection of religion. Means that if you are practicing a religion or spiritual process, this knowledge that I'm going to teach you today, that is the highest, and you will achieve the real perfection of religion you can achieve by practicing this knowledge. And it is everlasting and joyfully performed. It is not very difficult, like, so in the 6th chapter, Krishna talked about yoga, Ashtanga yoga. It's very difficult. Not everybody can follow. And one cannot follow in the cities. One cannot follow as a grihastha. One has to be a sannyasi. He has to give up everything. He has to. But this knowledge that Krishna is going to teach you today is the highest. It is even better than that yoga that he gave in 6th chapter. But it can be practiced by everybody very easily. And you can easily, and it can be joyfully performed. Right? Generally, yoga is associated with meticulous and very tough to follow rules. So, what do you infer? What do you think Krishna is inferring from this? What is the process Krishna is going to teach in this chapter? Any guesses?
Bhakti Yoga.
Bhakti Yoga, Prabhuji.
Bhakti Yoga, because in Bhakti, what do? You joyfully hear the wonderful pastimes of Krishna, and each of them are, heart-wrenching, and glorify Krishna, pray to Krishna, and even dance for Krishna, eat Krishna prasadam in temple and even at home. So it's so easy to integrate the whole process, and your mind is purified by this process. So naturally, you're very happy, right? You're healthy because you're eating good diet, timely, waking up early, sleeping early. All your habits are good. So naturally, it improves life standard and can be performed by anybody. You don't need to be, you need to have a simple heart. That's all. You don't need to be complicated. As long as you have a simple heart, accept Acharya's teachings, right? And have faith in God, anybody can easily perform. So that's why it is called, it is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. Yeah. Please continue reading here.
The chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called the King of Education because it is the essence of all doctrines and philosophies explained before. Among the principal philosophers in India are Gautama, Kanada, Kapila, Yajnavalkya, Sandilya, and Vaishwanara. And finally, there is Vyasadeva, the author of the Vedanta Sutra. So there is no dearth of knowledge in the field of philosophy or transcendental knowledge. Now, the Lord says that this 9th chapter is the king of all such knowledge, the essence of all knowledge that can be derived from the study of the Vedas and different kinds of philosophy.
So these philosophies given by Gautama, Kannada, Kapila, Yajnavalkya, Sandilya, and Vaishvanara, these are called the darshanas. The whole Vedic knowledge, as explained by these great acharyas, they are slightly different from each other in terms of conclusion, but even and at the end, the final version was given by Vyasadeva. And the version given by Vyasadeva is considered the highest, encompassing all the other philosophies, right? And he captured all his knowledge in the wisdom text called Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra is like condensed wisdom of the entire Vedic philosophy, which includes all the 4 Vedas, Vedangas, Puranas, and all Upanishads, everything. So the condensed wisdom of all of this is put together in Vedanta Sutra. And after compiling Vedanta Sutra, he compiled one more final book. Anybody knows what is the name of that book? He was not satisfied even after compiling Vedanta Sutra.
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes. Thank you, Mataji. So he gave Srimad Bhagavatam as his final. In his highest realization, he gave this final book, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered the natural commentary of Vedanta Sutra. Means whatever he expressed in cryptic language, in short aphorisms, in about 800 aphorisms in Vedanta Sutra, he expressed conclusively, elaborately in almost 18,000 verses in Srimad Bhagavatam. And what is the principal subject of Srimad Bhagavatam? Who is the principal subject of Srimad Bhagavatam?
Narada Muni. Narada Muni is talking, I think, right? In that end.
It's about glories of Krishna, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah, it's glories of Krishna.
It's all about the activities, glories of Krishna, and the devotees of Krishna. Not just Krishna, I mean various incarnations of Krishna. Like for example, Prahlad Charita is there. Prahlad Charita is focused on Prahlad's worship towards Narayana. Ultimately, Narsimhadev appeared to him. Right? So Dhruva Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj, Ritu Maharaj, Narada Muni, Kunti Devi. In this way, so many wonderful, great devotees, their journey of Krishna consciousness, right? Their stories, how I came to Krishna consciousness or how I achieved perfection in Krishna consciousness. Their stories were revealed there, right? What did they do? What is their behavior? And what is the achievement, right? So all of this is conclusively specified so that anybody who practices bhakti has convincing stories from the past history so that sets as a standard or a good example for how one can live in his own life by following these great acharyas, right? So in this way, 9th chapter is actually giving the most condensed wisdom of all the scriptures. Yeah, Prabhupada explains in elaborate ways. Should read this one. Wow, so big. Yeah, see, he's talking about Narada's previous life. Wow, Prabhupada gives such a big elaborate. So after our class gets over, if you have, try to spend some time reading these verses, especially the purports. They have so much wisdom, cryptic in that. Because of time, we can't read here, but this is a great wisdom to read. Asraddha dhana purusha
Ashraddha Purusha
dharmasyasya parantapa
Dharmasyasya Parantapa
prapya mam nivartante
Aprapya Mam Nivartante
mrityu samsara vartmani.
Mrityu Samsara Vartmani.
Asraddha dhana purusha. Asraddha dhana means faithless people. Yeah? Dharmasya, towards those people who do not have faith in the process of releasing. Dharmasyasya parantapa. Right? Parantapa means referring to Arjuna, killer of the enemies. Prapya, without obtaining me, nivartante, come back. Mrichu samsara. Krishna, okay, I told you, if you have faith in me, you are going to get the highest perfection. Right? It can be joy. The process I'm going to give you is a joyful process. You better practice it. But Krishna also tells, if you don't follow my instruction, what happens? Just, giving the two sides of the story. Yeah. Archana Mataji.
Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world.
Aprapya mam nivartante mrichu samsar vatmani. Vatmani means he's going to come back. Come back to the path. Now, what is their problem? They don't have faith. Faith in devotion service. If you don't have faith in devotion service, and naturally you won't perform bhakti. Even if you perform, you don't perform sincerely. So what happens for them? They'll come back to the material world, either in this planet or in the lower planets or in the higher planets. It doesn't matter. The thing is, he's going to be in the material world continuously after that, which is not interesting, right? Yeah. Please continue, Mataji.
The faithless cannot accomplish this process of devotional service. That is the purport of this verse. Faith is created by association with devotees. Unfortunate people, even after hearing all the evidence of Vedic literature from great personalities, still have no faith in God.
See how faith develops? We can develop faith in the process of bhakti by seeing the faith in the devotees bhakti, other devotees bhakti, right? So that's why we need association of devotees. We need to talk to devotees because of, by seeing their faith, our faith develops in our heart. Right? So that is the only way faith develops. Faith cannot develop by reading books. Faith cannot develop just by our own self-study or by our own self-practice. It, coming together like this is one way to develop faith. So similarly, visiting temple, doing some service, associating with other devotees who have faith. That way, our heart will be filled with faith. Yeah. So, they are hesitant and cannot stay fixed in devotional service of the Lord. Yeah. So please continue reading here.
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that faith is the complete conviction that simply by serving the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. That is called real faith.
So the real faith, is that just by serving Krishna, I will achieve the highest perfection. Why? So there is this Bhagavatam shloka. This is a beautiful verse. We can explain to anyone why we worship Krishna. Yatha taror mula nishechanena triptyanti satskanda bhujopashakha pranopahara katendriyana tataiva sarvahana machyuteja. Yeah. Beautiful verse, right? So what is it saying? Yatha taror mula nisecha nena. Right? Taror mula means the mula. Just like we want to water, if you want to water a tree, right? You would water the roots. You don't need to water the branches, the fruits, the flowers, the twigs. You don't need to water all of that. You just water the root. When you water the root, what happens? Tripchantis tatskanda bhujopashakha. So the whole tree gets nourished. Right? So similarly, just like we supply food to the stomach, the entire body gets nourished. You don't supply to the hand, you don't supply to the leg, you don't supply to the ears separately. Just by supplying food to the stomach, the energy gets distributed. So similarly, by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, one automatically satisfies all the other demigods and other living entities. One need not separately endeavor to satisfy other demigods or other great personalities. Right? Please read the translation, Mataji.
By giving water to the root of a tree, one satisfies its branches, twigs, and leaves, and by supplying food to the stomach, one satisfies all the senses of the body. Similarly, by engaging in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, one automatically satisfies all the demigods and all other living entities.
Yeah, some devotees, in the beginning stages, they say, Prabhuji, we worship Vinayaka, we worship this devata, that devata. Is it okay? We start worshipping now. We are changing worship. We are worshipping Baba till now. Will Baba be fine if we start worshipping Krishna? Yes, everybody will be happy because you are worshipping the central root. He is the source. Krishna, as per the scriptures, is the source of all existence, including all the other demigods and devatas. So by worshipping Krishna, they will also be satisfied. Just like if you have a direct connection with Prime Minister, you don't need to please each of the minister in his cabinet separately. Just by requesting whatever you want from Prime Minister, naturally all your, all your work gets done through various ministries, for example. You don't need to approach each ministry separately because you have a direct connection with the Supreme Lord. So similarly, the devotee is trying to connect with Krishna, which is the highest source of everything. And so he doesn't need to, there is no need for separate worship of any demigod. In fact, they will be more satisfied because you are worshipping the one who is worshipable for them. Right? So they will not feel envy, oh, why he is worshipping him, not me. No, they know their position versus the God's position because that is the reason they are demigods. They know, they have better understanding than us. So they are never competitors for Krishna. Now, please read.
Therefore, after reading Bhagavad Gita, one should promptly come to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. One should give up all other engagements and adopt the service of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. If one is convinced of this philosophy of life, that is faith.
That's the highest faith. Yeah. So Prabhupada talks about.
So Prabhuji, in that verse that we just read, Achyuta means is basically a term that we are using to talk about Lord Krishna, is it?
Correct.
Okay.
Tataiva sarvahanam achyutejya. Yeah. Any other questions so far? So this verse is primarily, yeah. So Krishna talked about if you have faith, this is the best process I'm going to give you. If you don't have faith, this is the problem you're going to have. You're going to come back to the material world. if you don't have faith in me, you're going to come back. Right? Now he's going to give the knowledge. Okay, just behold the knowledge that Krishna is going to give. Maya tatam idam sarvam
Maya tatamidam
Maya tatamidam
sarvam
sarvam
jagavyaktamurtina
Jagat
jagat avyakta murtina
avyaktamurtina
matstani sarvabhutani
mastani sarva bhutani
achaham te swavastita.
nataham
Achaham
te
te
sva avastita.
svavastitah.
Again, once again. Maya tatam
Maya tatam idam sarvam
jagavyaktamurtina
jagat
Jagat
avyakta murtina
avyaktamurtina
matstani sarvabhutani
mastani
matstani
sarva
sarvabhutani
bhutani
nachaham te swavastita.
nataham te sva avastita.
Please read. Sudha Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Please read.
By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them.
So Krishna is telling about Brahman, Brahmajyoti, through which he was covering the entire universe. So he's going to talk about 3 levels of existence of God. Okay, this is the Brahman. So there are 3 ways, the 3 Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan, iti sabde. So there are 3 forms of existence of God. Okay. So in the form of Brahman means the pure consciousness. Okay. He is spread all over the material universe. He is entire universe, not just material universe, entire cosmos. Okay. So everything is residing within him, right? Within his cosmic manifestation is Brahman. But I'm not in that. So in the Brahman form, it's an all-pervading energy of Lord. So everybody is covered within him, within the Brahma Jyoti. And so you can say, I'm not in them. So not in them means, so what is there in the Jiva? What is there in the Jiva? What is the form of God in the Jiva? In every Jiva, God is there, right? What is the form called?
Paramatma.
Yeah, Paramatma. Or what is the other term for it? We have another term as well for that. Archana Mataji, you know that. Kshirodak.
Yeah, Chirodakasai. I'm sorry, Prabhuji. I actually got some news of someone's passing away, so I was just distracted for a minute. So I was not paying attention. I apologize.
Oh, no worries. Yeah. It's okay. Take care. If you need to drop off, please go ahead.
No, it's fine, Prabhuji. I'll just stay on here. Yeah.
So in the form of, so Krishna exists in the form of Paramatma within the heart. Okay. But he himself is Bhagavan, right? He is the source of Paramatma, but he is not Paramatma. In a way, he is different from Paramatma also. So that's why he says, but I'm not in them. Okay. Okay. So he is pervading the entire universe in the form of Brahma Jyoti. Okay. So that's what we understand from this. Nachamatstani bhutani
Natmastani bhutani
pashyame yoga aishwaram
pashyami yogamaishwaram
bhuta bhrinda cha bhutasto
bhuta brinna cha bhutasto
atma bhuta bhavana.
Mamatma
mamatma bhuta bhavana.
Sweta Mataji, please read.
And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation.
So what is he saying here? And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Everything comes from Krishna, including various incarnations. Like we know from Krishna, the first expansion is Balaram, and from Balaram there is Chaturvyuha, Shankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, right? From again the Shankarshan, there is Narayana. From Narayana comes the Mahavishnu. From Mahavishnu comes Kshirodaksa Vishnu. From Kshirodaksa, Garbhodaksa Vishnu. From Garbhodaksa Vishnu, Kshirodaksa Vishnu. And from Mahavishnu, the whole cosmic manifestation is created. So there is a third or fourth expansion from which the material manifestation is done, right? So Krishna is the source of everything, and he is the maintainer of all the living entities. Although I am everywhere in the form of Brahmajyoti, but I am not part of this cosmic manifestation. Means I as Bhagavan, I'm not part of this cosmic manifestation, because the cosmic manifestation is a duty given to the specific incarnation, which is Mahavishnu. For myself is the very source of creation. You see this? So Krishna is distinguishing himself from his incarnations as well as the creations of him. Okay, so there is a distinction between the two again. So he's just clarifying that. You can say they're one, but they're also different, right? Just like Bill Gates has, say, 100 buildings in Microsoft. In Microsoft Redmond, right? You can say everything is an expansion of Bill Gates, but he is not in each building. So you can say every wall, every room, everything is Bill Gates, but it's his expanded energy. You can say it is his, but it is not his also. He's equivalent to that and also different from it. Yeah. So I'm not part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. So Krishna, through his various expansions, he creates this entire cosmos, but he also has existence beyond this cosmic manifestation. Meaning, it's not like some people have this understanding. Oh, God, everything is God. God has created, and God has diluted into this existence. No, God exists separate from all this manifestation. God is not just this entire creation. Some people have this weird understanding. Nature is God. But nature is the nature of God. Nature is the creation of God. Nature is not God. People have this weird, very, very complicated understanding because they can't conceive, they cannot accept something beyond their, beyond what they perceive in this world. It is like the story of a frog, right? One time, one frog from Indian Ocean, it came out of Indian Ocean and jumped into a well. And in the well, there is another frog. And that frog had never seen anything outside that well. And so the frog from the Indian Ocean said, hey, I come from Indian Ocean. It's a very vast body of water. And the frog in the well is trying to understand what does it mean by big well? Then it tries to calculate. Maybe is it like double of this well, or is it 3 times of this well? Then he tries to expand his body and tries to show, is it like this big? Is it like that big? And the frog from the Indian Ocean says, no, you can't calculate. It is like limitless. You are always in this, frog in the well. You never know what is outside this well. What I'm talking about is much, much bigger than what you can understand. So the frog tried to expand its scope of understanding and finally burst, but it could not understand it. So similarly, people try to calculate God with their limited senses, because what they think that science is everything, and what science can perceive is the highest knowledge. There is nothing beyond that. So that kind of is dogmatic. People say religious people are dogmatic, or spiritual people are dogmatic, but in fact, people with fixed understanding that everything is what can be perceived with science, they are more dogmatic in a way, because they can't understand, they can't accept anything beyond what they can perceive with scientific instruments, which are again limited in what they can do, right? So everything has limitations on what can be perceived through instruments of the material world. Yeah. So Krishna is now expanding, like clarifying, hey, all this cosmic manifestation is my creation, and I am not in them. Everything is my energy, you can say. But I am as Krishna, as the Swayam Bhagavan, I don't exist in everything. My manifested energies will run it. I don't need to be there. And also, he clarifies that I am the maintainer of all the living entities. Bhuta Brin, Nacha Bhutasto. Bhuta Brin means maintainer of all living entities. So who is our real maintainer? It is God. It's not our job. It is not Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos. No, they are not the maintainers. Today they are there, tomorrow they're gone. Right? Our real maintenance is done by God himself. Everybody is just an instrument in the process. Yeah. This is what I discussed. Lord says that everything is resting on him. Matstani sarva bhutani. This should not be misunderstood. The Lord is not directly concerned with the maintenance and sustenance of the material manifestation. Lord is not directly concerned with maintenance and sustenance of the material manifestation. Right? So it's run by his energies and his ministries. They're all taking care of it. He doesn't need to. One time, one Britisher visited various temples in India. Okay, he saw various temples. He visited so many temples. In different temples, he saw different deities, and he also visited Vrindavan and he saw Krishna's deity. So he found the difference between how other deities were manifest versus how Krishna is manifest. He said, I saw all these deities. Somebody has a bow and arrow, somebody has some various chakra or gada or some various instruments. They're all performing some duties, but Krishna is just simply playing the flute, right? Because he's the source of every manifestation. Even though everybody, so many incarnations are there, they're all, again, what are they doing? They are actually in a way serving Krishna. So they are considered servant God. They are God, and they are equivalent to God in terms of potencies. Like all Vishnu Tattvas, Narasimha, Rama, right? All these manifestations of Krishna, they're all coming from Krishna, non-different from Krishna in terms of potencies, but they're all serving Krishna in a way. Ultimately, to again reclaim the jivas from the material existence. Now, can anybody read this? Mataji, can you read?
In the Nirukti Vedic dictionary, it is said, Yuyuktate Nena Durgas Tesu Karyesu. The Lord is performing inconceivably wonderful pastimes, displaying his energy. His person is full of different potent energies, and his determination is itself actual fact. In this way, the personality of Godhead is to be understood.
So Lord is performing inconceivably wonderful pastimes, displaying his energy. Yeah, continue.
We may think of doing something, but there are so many impediments, and sometimes it is not possible to do as we like. But when Krishna wants to do something, simply by his willing, everything is performed so perfectly that one cannot imagine how it is being done. The Lord explains this fact. Although he is the maintainer and sustainer of the entire material manifestation, he does not touch this material manifestation. Simply by his supreme will, everything is created, everything is sustained, everything is maintained, and everything is annihilated.
Just by his will, everything is done. Yathakasha stito nityam
Yathakasha stito nityam
Nityam.
vayu sarvatra maham
vayu sarvatra go mahan
tata sarvani bhutani
Tata
tatha sarvani bhutani
mastani iti upadharaya.
Machtanti upadharaya.
Yeah, continue. Anybody read? Rani Mataji.
Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in me.
Understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere rests always in the sky, all created beings rest in it. Wind can blow anywhere, but still it is within the limits of sky, right? It won't go too far. So similarly, all created beings rest in me. Matstan is upadharya. Everything is situated within me. Yeah. Sarva bhutani kaunteya.
Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya
Sarvabhutani kaunteya
Kritam yanti mamikam.
prakritam yanti
Yanti
mamikam
mamikam
Kalpakshaye punastani.
kalpakshaye
kalpakshaye
punastani
punastani
Kalpadau visrijamyaham.
kalpadava
kalpadau visrajamyaham.
Rajyam.
Uma Mataji. Another Uma
O,
Mataji.
O son of Kunti, at the end of millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again.
So Krishna is saying, at the end of millennium, all the manifested material manifestation enter into me. This is the at the end of every day of Brahma. So everything comes back to him, and at the beginning of another millennium, again I create everything. Then we read this. Actually, it is talking about the lifetime of Brahma. Yeah, please continue here.
All creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this material cosmic manifestation are completely dependent on the supreme will of personality of Godhead. At the end of the millennium means at the death of Brahma. Brahma lives for 100 years and his one day is calculated for
It's 4.3,
4.3 million.
no, 4,300 million.
For the 4,300 million of our earthly years. His night is of the same duration. His month consists of 30 such days and nights, and his year of 12 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it's by calculation, it is a very, very big number compared to our earthly years. That's what. Yeah. Continue.
After 100 such years, when Brahma dies, the devastation of annihilation takes place. This means that the energy manifested by the Supreme Lord is again wounded up in himself.
Mm.
Then again, when there is a need to manifest the cosmic world, it is done by his will. Bahusyam, although I am one, I shall become many. This is the Vedic aphorism.
Mm.
He expands himself in this material energy and the whole cosmic manifestation again takes place.
Yeah. This is going on because the jiva want to continue to fulfill his desires. As long as he has these desires, he continues to come back to the material world. So the escape route is taking the bhakti process, or any yoga practice for the matter. So this is all arrangement for whose sake? Why Krishna has to do all this repeated creation and annihilation? What is he? What is he? Why is he doing all this? Aranya Mataji, why? What do you think?
Prabhuji, what was the question? Sorry. The boys were just fighting here. Sorry, I couldn't hear.
I was asking, what is the reason for Krishna's, doing all this annihilation and creation and annihilation, all these so many times?
It depends on
Creation
his karma, right?
Creation and we say that it's based on the material nature, like people's like desires, right? That's the reason why, and your karma.
Yeah, because you still have some hopes and desires to fulfill in the world. Material desire, something independent of God. So Krishna is facilitating through this process of material existence. Right? If you don't have desire, there is no reason for God to keep you here. But
Right.
Krishna is doing this repeatedly so that we get the opportunity to fulfill our desires.
I have a question, Prabhuji, about this
Mhm.
annihilation and again the creation. So if everything is annihilated, right, after 100 years of Brahma, if everything is annihilated, then all the desires and everything should perish, right? There is no need to create again. Why the creation again?
No, the annihilation is done because the lifetime is over. Does not mean, so just by, suppose somebody passed away, it doesn't mean all his desires are fulfilled, correct? So,
Okay.
so the desires will continue to linger in the mind. So the annihilation is only about the annihilation of the physical body. What about the subtle mind, right? So that still carries the jiva's desires. And when the appropriate time comes, means the day of Brahma comes up again after his night time, again all the jivas will want to fulfill the desires. They actually feel just like when in the morning, we all feel like getting up and doing our work. So similarly, the jivas feel the irk to fulfill the desires, and again they are manifest into the material world, so that they can continue their business of fulfilling the desires of material existence. So they will be given the opportunity. So there is rest. Just like every night we rest so that we can come back in the next day and again fulfill our desires. So similarly, at a cosmic scale also, there is a period of rest for Brahmaji. At that time, there is no manifestation of jivas. And again, when Brahma wakes up, again the jivas will get another opportunity to fulfill their desires. And this goes on forever. And various jivas in various bodies will try to fulfill. That's what is going on all the time. And at some point, they'll get the body of human being. And at that time, they'll get the opportunity to understand the purpose of life. Every jiva gets the opportunity, no matter who you are. You get that inquiry because you have a human body. You get that question, who am I? At some point. Either you pursue it or not is a different question. And you get the opportunity to get out of it. If you don't use it, again, God doesn't interfere in your independence. Because if you force, then that is not love. God loves us. And he doesn't force us to be his devotee, or he doesn't force us to be back to him. He will let us understand it on our own. Just like a loving father does not force his child to do a certain thing. That's not love anymore. It's a force. So the wayward child tries to enjoy in this world outside the protection of God, Father. And ultimately he realizes, yeah, I understand there is nothing better than, my own abode in God's face. And then he'll go back. So that's the essence of Bhagavad Gita or any other scriptures. Focus your life on the essential principle. And utilize your life so that you can perfect in this one life and go back to God. Let's read this one final verse. Prakritim swam avastabhya
Prakritim swamavastavya
jami punah punah
visrajmami punah punah
bhutagramam imam krishnam
bhutagramam imam krishnam
cham prakrite vashat.
avasam prakrite vasat.
Uma Sajikumar Mataji.
The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again, and under my will, it is annihilated at the end.
So the whole cosmic order is under me. Prakritim swam avastabhya. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again and again and again. Right? So Lord is, again, the main point is everything is happening according to the will of God. Under my will, it is automatically manifested again and again. And under my will, it is annihilated at the end. This is very key. Some people think, oh, the world will be annihilated when we throw atom bombs. It's not according to the will of Jiva that the world will annihilate. Nobody can annihilate the world. No need to fear at all. It is only when Lord wills these things happen. Right? So everything is actually under complete control of Krishna. Who can tell more confidently like this, right? Other than God himself. Prakritim swam avastabhya. Swam means myself. Prakriti, entire manifested material universe. Right? So everything cosmic order is under me, under my will. It is automatically manifested again and again. And under my will, it is annihilated at the end. Even though Brahma is the secondary creator, but still the overall plan, it's like, cabinet minister may execute according to the specific duties ordered by the Prime Minister, but ultimately Prime Minister is the authority. Okay? Under my will, it is automatically manifest. Automatically, because it is happening by the order. Just it doesn't need to do a lot of hard work to create this manifestation. Just he desires, and accordingly everything will manifest. His potency is inconceivable to us. Under my will, it is annihilated at the end, right? So there is order to everything. There is, there is harmony and order. Everything is happening around the perfect will of God. You can extend that to your own life. Everything is happening in our life is to teach us a lesson, is to improve us in one way or the other. Do not think everything is happening right. Why this thing is happening to me? Why am I so miserable? Why life is like this? Don't ever think everything is happening for our good. Right? Because why would, for example, right? Your father will never want anything bad to happen to you. Right? Anything that is happening in your life. You may not like a particular subject. You may hate the teacher. You may wonder why your father kept you to be taught a particular subject by that particular teacher. You don't know, but it is in your best interest. At that point, you may not realize as a child, right? So similarly, sometimes we may not understand why certain things are happening in our life in a certain way. But understand there is a bigger plan, there is a bigger goal for God in all of this. And just surrender to Him. Don't complain. Don't question. Just accept and do whatever is best you can in the situation. Right? So you don't know the bigger plan. You may not be able to connect the dots at that time. Right? But in retrospective, you can see how everything is done so perfectly by God, by God's arrangement in your life. If only we have that vision to see that, we can see that. Okay, so we'll end here. Any questions, comments? Okay, then 8 verses we covered. We'll continue from 9th verse next week. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Prabhuji. Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Oh,
Hare Krishna.
1 second. I want to say one thing.
Yeah.
So next week we have this yearly Nagar Sankirtan, Mahanagar Sankirtan. So we will not have regular weekly class. Instead, I recommend all of you to join. So we all go in van pool from temple. We all go in various vans to Seattle. If you are in Seattle area, if you are not in Seattle area, if you cannot reach our Samamish temple, then it is okay. But if you can, try to come and join Mahanagar. It will be a very nice experience. We'll actually and chant the Maha Mantra in Seattle area. So we are expecting around 400 to 500 devotees to attend that next Sunday. So it is because we are doing Nam Sankirtan is Yugadharma, Harinam Sankirtan. And recently Lord Chaitanya's appearance happened, who inaugurated this holy name, the chanting of the holy name and the Nam Sankirtan. And so just to acknowledge that fact of his appearance, to please him and to receive his blessings, we do this once a year. So I recommend everybody to actually join next Sunday. I'll send the details on the timing and the way you can assemble and join this Mahanagar Sankirtan. So one more thing I wanted to mention is, so the devotion service we are practicing, besides knowledge that you're acquiring and chanting, the realization part will happen when we engage our senses in the service of God directly. So I am So I'm planning to actually, at least once a month on one day, right? We can pick a day. All of us can go and serve in the kitchen. Like maybe, we can help in, some cleaning or cutting vegetables or something together. That way, at least some regular cadence, we have some service to the temple. What do you all think about it? Do you have
It's a
any?
great idea, Prabhuji. I used to come to the temple and then it just stopped, like on Saturdays.
Hmm.
Weekends would be helpful, Prabhuji, morning.
Yeah, weekend or even weekday, like in the night, 7 o'clock. We don't need to spend a lot of time. It's just like, half an hour to 1 hour. Just go,
Mhm.
because the devotees are there to cook, but it's a lot of work to cut the vegetables. They are doing right now, but if we can help them, it's a great service to Krishna, and also service to the devotees, and it will help you actually. Cutting vegetables or any of the services, they help you grow spiritually very much. It purifies.
Mhm.
So, what do you all think about it? So, Aranya Mataji said yes. Anybody else can make
Yeah,
time?
Prabhuji, I can also join. It's a good idea.
Mataji. Sudha Mataji, Rani Mataji is not here. I don't think she can. She's in a
Uh,
different state.
Prabhuji, right now I'm not in Seattle for some time.
Hmm.
So whenever I'll be back in Seattle, like at least for a few months, I'm not in Seattle. I would definitely come to the temple and join.
We'll pick a day, say, for example, once a month on first week of Monday. I'll find out from the temple when we can all, I'll pick up like 2 or 3 dates, and we'll together discuss next week sometime and finalize on a particular time. Try to attend once a month. It's not, not asking even once a week. At least let's begin with once a month. Okay. So let me see what we can do together. Okay?
Sounds good, Prabhuji.
Yeah. At least 5 people attend. That's also good. 4 or 5 people, 5 of us, right? That's a significant work we can do in 1 hour, 5 hours of work. It will be nice help to the temple. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Thanks,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I'm gonna hang out because I just wanted to talk to you about something. So I'll just stay back for 5 minutes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, once.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Drop. Let me stop recording.